Well, hello. As you already may have already know, my name is Professor Christian Rubio. I am actually a Spanish professor. I'm also the Modern Languages Department Chair, and since July of 2018, I have been the Honors Program Director. It is my second position as an honors director. I held that position somewhere else. But I have been involved in honors education for a very long time. So I do have the experience with that, but more importantly, I want to reiterate that you're here. First of all, congratulations, and thank you for coming to Bentley. I have no doubt that you made the right decision, and we're going to make sure that you succeed from the first day that you arrive here to campus. So with that in mind, I believe there are some questions that were asked. These are the two questions that were asked in social media, and then I will open up to your questions. All right, so let me backtrack a little bit. Before that, so the honors program, really, you do not have to take extra courses on top of your 122 that you will have to take during the span of 4 years. All the class requirements will count for something in your program, in your degree program. So that mindset, please, I hope that answers some of your questions. The community that we have, I have been trying to build the honors program in a way that you, the students, have autonomy. There will be a lot of opportunities for you to hold offices. I'm sure all of you have already received an email from the mentorship committee. That mentorship committee is run exclusively by the students and is for the students. There are other committees like that. We have the newsletter. Columnus is the honors program newsletter, which gets into competition at the national level. We won the first place and second place. That committee, again, is run by the students, is for the students. Also recruitment and retention, recruitment and admission. That basically, I know a lot of you probably were here during April for the open house with accepted students. That whole program was set for the students. And finally, we had events committee. That events committee, what they do is we try to program different events on and off campus. Last year, students went to see the Celtics played. I think they were the Pacers. If you have any idea that you want to do off campus as well, like visit other places, not just sporting events, we are more open ears, and so is the subcommittee. We are going to start a series of those speakers that will try to give you the opportunity to learn more about career opportunities and even job opportunities, and that's something also that the students are doing. On top of that, we have the Student Honors Council. More information to that once you arrive here. You will have the opportunity to run for office. The offices for the Honors Council run on the calendar year, which means January to December. And the reason why the students decided to do this is to give you, the first year students, the opportunity to get acclimated, get used to the habits of Bentley, and then we will host, and then we will call, not elections, but selections. As you see, probably sometime in October and November, you're gonna get messages from your Student Honors Council calling students to volunteer or to be part of the selection process. That is on top. That is on the outside the academics. When it comes to with your courses, etc. I know all of you already registered. I'm sure you registered for at least one honors course, hopefully two. And if you did not register for two, that is fine. We'll talk more about that. All right, so let me get into your questions. Question we received here says, can honors students enter the honors, can they enter the honors defined community lounge if they're not in the defined community? Yes and no, meaning that somebody needs to let you in the building, and normally will be honors students. So last year, for example, I held on Mondays, I had pizza days with the students there. And the students that were not in the honors defined community were able to join us. So if you have a friend who lives there, you have the opportunity to go there as long as you're with someone, just like any other building. That includes a lounge. However, the only thing, the big difference that we have from last year is that we have a upper division, upper class honors defined community now, and that is that's been in Falcone dorms. That is a bigger lounge, a smaller number of students, but a bigger lounge. There's about 35 students, or mostly sophomores, some juniors, and we do have another lounge there as well. That particular lounge will be the same rule as it is for the Slade Hall, but most of you that maybe live in there, you will have access to it. You could get in there, but somebody has to let you in. So basically, your card won't be able to swipe there. Second question, how do honors classes compare to regular classes? Well, first of all, from what we hear from based on students' experience, it's more interactive. As you know, the classes here at Bentley are capped at 30 to 35. Honors classes are capped at 16 to 18. In rare occasions, especially with popular professors, those classes can be capped at 20, but we usually maintain 16 to 18. So that right off the bat is half of the class of a regular class. So what does that mean? The professors have the opportunity to do more interactive activities with you, conversation, in-depth conversation. So you get to know everybody in the class. The H doesn't mean harder. It just means honors. Honors meaning more hands-on experience with the professors, opportunity to ask more questions as opposed to a class where you have 30 to 35 students and you might get lost in the crowd. And also, professors usually are selected to do this, whereas a regular class, a student professor simply told you teaching this class, professors volunteer to do this class. So that is one of the main differences between the honors classes and your regular classes, the opportunity to get into more in-depth conversation with the topics that you're discussing, get to know the professors better, and get to know all the students better. The grade has no, there is no influence of the grade of what regular class or honor class. So the students have always raved about the honors courses because of the small number of students, the opportunity to get to know your peers and get into more in-depth conversation, whereas a professor needs to spend, 2 classes in one topic. Usually in honors courses, you could do it probably in less but more quality time as opposed to quantity. I'm going to open up some other questions that you may have.
Somebody asked, what does the honors orientation consist of?
So you guys going to go through the same honors orientation as the regular students. There's going to be some of them for the honors defined community. You get to know your peers there. Tyler Sherman is your resident director for Slade Hall for the first honors defined community. The only difference is that on Friday, the 23rd at 4 p.m., when the students finish for the day and they will go for an event, honors students will go and we will host the welcome barbecue where I'll be there, and probably the associate director, Professor Rob DeLeo, is going to try to be here. I'm not sure if he'll be able to make it, but I will definitely be there. A student for the membership, for the mentorship committee will be there as well. You will get some gifts from us and your letter from your mentorship committee, and then at that time we're going to have some Q&A questions, and then I'm going to talk to you about myths and facts about the honors program. There seem to be some myths and facts about the honors program, but that is the biggest difference. At the end of on the last day on Friday, you will have a welcome barbecue that is exclusive for honors students. The rest is pretty much like every other orientation. You guys have any other questions? they prefer that I answer some of this Q&A that students usually have. All right. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit of then some of the, I asked the students again, when I took over the honors program last year, one of my main goals was to make the program for you, by you, okay? Because that's just the way I operate. First of all, when you arrive to campus, you will see, and if you have visited campus, if you remember your campus visit, at Damien Hall on the second floor is the honors suite. We share the suite with the Valenti Center. That lounge is a lounge that is open 24/7. As long as the Damien Hall is open, you guys can get into the lounge. I will give you the code. It's very easy on the Welcome Barbecue and for that lounge. That we have different group collaboration rooms as well. We have 4, if I'm not mistaken, in which you can go and use. The students usually take advantage of that during midterms and finals. All right, let's see. How can I make most of my honors experience? All right, so if you're wondering how can I make the most of my honors experience, is get involved. Get to know your peers. You may not be living in the Defined Honors community and the Slade Hall, but you will have opportunities to be part of the program by ways of participating in the committees and the subcommittees that we have. There are opportunities to do not just fun stuff like trips, but also research. As you know, a lot of employers are looking for students that are able to do research on their own. You will, when you graduate here 4 years from now, and I know it seems like a long time, but trust me, the 4 years will fly by. We're going to make sure that you are able to differentiate yourself from the rest of your peers. One of the ways to do this is to provide input to the program, host some leadership positions, or be part of the subcommittee, be part of the program. Join us in any other activities that we have, whether it's social events, whether it's academic events, and those are some of the things that you will make the most out of your experience here as an honors students. Go to the lounge. We do have a specific persons in career service. So those will be the opportunities that will make you the most, to experience the most, get the most out of the honors program. I believe we have another question. What is the role of the mentor? How does that work? All right. So the mentor is really going to be with you for the first semester. You will receive a letter, like I said, in the Welcome Barbecue. You're going to receive your, I'm sure you know who your mentor is. There are going to be several meetings throughout the fall semester that the mentor has to meet with you. The mentors have been selected. They not just been voluntold, they have volunteered to do this. They went through a process and where they said exactly why they wanted to be a mentors. Not everybody who applied got in to be a mentor, so we will make sure that the process was someone that we have students who are serious about this. So the students are going to help you in different ways. Number one, they're going to help you get acclimated to Bentley. It's going to be the first time that you live home, and then you're going to be living here with new students from new different places. So it's an adjustment. So your mentors are there to answer you any questions. So if you have trouble with registration, you had trouble where to find a dining hall, with anything that you have, any trouble, your mentors are there for you. There are going to be 4, if I'm not mistaken, 4 to 5 meetings throughout the fall semester in which you will talk to your mentor. They'll help you, choosing classes for the spring semester. I know you just went through it, but believe it or not, at the end of October, you're going to start picking your classes for the spring semester. They're going to help you how to, what professors, what times to take, what classes to take, some of the requirements that you have, because, for example, for you as a new student, we have different requirements. For example, the second writing course, the XPOS 201 is called, the XPOS 2, the second writing course. You must take it before you even are, before you register for your capstone, which happens to be in your junior year. So during your first 2 years, you must take XPAS 1 and XPAS 2. I know a lot of you already registered for XPAS 1. Probably some of you decided to put it for the spring semester, which is fine. Just keep in mind that you have to do it within your first 3 to 4 semesters here. Another thing that you have to do is service learning, service learning experience. That is actually defined by the service learning community. So your mentor will help you with that. Will help you tell you, okay, this is the office. This is some of the things that you can do. This is the thing that you need to do. So those are some of the things that your mentor is going to help you. And then for the spring semester, there's no mandatory meetings, although we are really encouraging the mentors to be with you, to be at least in touch with you throughout the spring semester. And then probably in the spring semester, we're going to put a call, not probably, we're going to put a call, and we hope that you, by the time you finish your first year, you are interested in becoming a mentor for the class that arrives in the fall of 2020. Are there any other questions? Let's see, any other questions? How many do we have right now?
There's
3.
three.
Okay. Let's see. Can I bring non-honors friends to honors events? Yes, you can to some events, except for the sporting events. Those usually are closed only for honor students. Last year, like I said, I believe it was March when the students went to see the Celtics against the Pacers, that we only took 35 students, and you have to be an honor student to do that. But for example, when we put a series of speakers, and you want to bring your friends to those events, that is not a problem. You can bring them as well. You can even bring them to the lounge in the Damien Hall. If you want to bring them to this event, that is fine as well. So anyway, so that's one of the questions. Let's see. Some other questions that I have that students shared with me. Will I be given the opportunity to buy honors merchandise when I get to Bentley? That is something that right now we're in the process. So last year, it's a smaller bottle than theirs that has the honors logo here. The students designed the bottle. That's what they wanted. We have a logo, and they wanted to put it in a bottle. If students have voiced to me that they want to get T-shirts, that is something that we'll be open to do. So, you know, if you want to be part of it, if you have any ideas, send them my way, and then I could share it with the council. And then if we want to make some other gear for that exclusive for honors students, we could do that. That's something that is one of my goals, is to have honors merchandise only available to the students. So for right now, we only have the bottles of water, and you know, that you will be getting it during the barbecue. Let's see. Okay, so students keep asking, what does it really mean to live in a defined community? Okay, so to live in a defined community is basically just like any defined community, where there is honors and there are other ones here. Is basically you live with students who share the same interests as you. The difference between honors defined living communities is that you have the lounge. The lounge is a room that students usually use it there to study. I know they also have held game nights there. That's usually during the weekends. The honors lounge is something that the other defined communities do not have. But living in a defined community means that you have students who share the same interests as you, and more than likely you're taking at least one class with a few of your peers in that floor. It's a very students usually like that. You get to know people right away. At least you share common interests already to spark some conversation and to create a bond. My goal is to create somewhat like a social network for you during those defined communities. This is why we have decided to do the upper class defined communities, because our goal is that mentors will host those meetings with the students in the upper division defined community. My goal is to have not the upper class defined community, not just 35 students that we have right now, but probably even 100 students living in different floors. So that is our goal, and that's some of the things that meaning that's what it means to live in an honors defined living community. Let's see. If I'm not in the honors defined community, will that take away from my own experience? Not really. You will have other opportunities to participate in the honors program. And you're going to notice as soon as you arrive to campus, actually, that I am very good about announcing events using the email. One of the things that I'm going to be looking for, and this is going to be from the get-go, is I want the students to start running the social media outlets that we have. So we have an Instagram, we have Facebook page, and we have a Twitter account. We entertain having a Snapchat, but the honors council told me no, that probably is more one-on-one. I don't know. I don't have Snapchat. So, but students, I'm going to be looking for students to be the managers of the social media to announce all these events. However, you will always hear from me via email. I have had the opportunity to talk to some of you already via email, even a phone conversation, as you guys were entertaining the idea of coming to Bentley. You probably did notice, and you will notice soon, that I try to answer emails within 24 hours. So unless you see an away message from me, you will hear back from me within 24 hours. I try to do that, and if I don't hear from me, you could always send me another email as a reminder. So I'm always trying to get you involved in various activities. For example, one of the things that you're going to be hearing a lot from me is we are going to start what is called the Research Boot Camp. It's going to be sponsored by the Valenti Center and the Honors Program. There's various events that help you not necessarily start working on research, get to know what research is. That's going to be a big component of your honors experience of research, whether it's individual research or group research, because you meaning the first class that you guys are arriving, you will have the opportunity to choose 3 tracks on your 3rd year. The first track is the research track, which is a one-on-one research with a professor. The second track is a creative project track, and let's say you happen to be a poet. Right now we have a student working on an anthology of poetry. She actually wanted to write about Iran and the Middle East, and she wanted to talk to people as she's writing her poetry. So guess what? She requested funding from us, and we granted the funding. So she actually went to the Middle East over the summer. She had spent a couple of weeks in the Middle East interviewing people as she's writing her poetry. Last year as well, a student went to Morocco to present her research. A student went to Baltimore at the Northeast regional meetings that the honors programs have. So there will be those opportunities, and you could go and present your research like that. And finally, on the 3rd track will be the community-based research. And that is more like a group of students work with a professor, and you basically will be sort of like consultants for companies. For example, let's say a hospital went to, hospitals, most of the people that work in hospital talk, obviously they're doctors in science, right? So they don't know some stuff about business. So a professor can take you there, and you could help the hospital run some of their business and create a project for them or a plan for them to execute. That's some of the things that you're going to be doing. You guys are the first group of students that will get to enjoy this part. That's something obviously you won't get to do it until your junior year. However, it's probably good that you have at least an idea what research is, and those are some of the events that we're going to be putting together during the fall semester. Let's see. When do I start thinking about my capstone? I would say start thinking about your capstone probably, I would say, during your sophomore year. Think about some of the things that you would like to do, what you're passionate about. That is actually very important. you're going to spend a whole year working on this project. So you need to be passionate about what you're working on. Don't do it just because it's just another thing to do. So that's some of the things that I would really tell you. Start thinking about a theme, a topic during your sophomore year. So that's some of the things that you could be talking to your mentor. Ask your mentor, what do you think? What some of the things that I need to be thinking about? They'll give you the best answer. However, my suggestion is around your sophomore year, you should start thinking about which track you want to go into, because you will have to choose a track by your third year. Will going abroad will allow me to continue to be in the program. Going abroad has nothing to do with the honors program. You will have the opportunity to go abroad. Students here at Bentley usually go abroad during their third year. The only difference is that from now on, we are going to be hosting some kind of, I don't want to call it mentorship, or some kind of info sessions before you go abroad. Because once you go study abroad, none of the courses that you take abroad can count towards your honors curriculum. So you need to be mindful of that. If you go abroad during your fall semester of your junior year, when you come back on your spring semester junior year, that's when you start working on your capstone. If you decide to go abroad during your spring semester of your junior year, then you will have to start working on your capstone the fall semester. So that's the only tricky part about going abroad. Again, we're going to be hosting info sessions for those students thinking about going abroad, and especially those that have already been accepted to programs. Let's see. What is the required GPA to stay in the program? And will I get kicked out if I don't meet a GPA? All right. So new rules are also for you. After your first year, you're supposed to have you have to maintain a 3.3 GPA throughout your first year, meaning right after your fall semester, you have to have a 3.3. And then also at the end of your first year. By the second year, you have to maintain a 3.4 GPA, and your third and fourth year, you have to maintain a 3.5 GPA. That is a new requirement that applies to you. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, will I get the GPA? You will maintain the GPA. In fact, the main reason why we decided to change the GPA, because we took a look at the history for the last 5 years for honors students, and the average GPA was way above 3.5 by the time you graduate. So what happens if you have a bad luck and hit a bump on the road and you don't get a good grade in one of your classes and your GPA takes a hit? You will go on probation for 1 semester. So let's say, for example, hypothetically speaking, that at the end of this fall semester, you took 1 class and you didn't know that you were supposed to do something, and you get a bad GPA and you fall under 3.3. Well, you will receive a letter from me, an email from me, and stating that you are now on probation. You will have the spring semester to bring it back up. By the end of your spring semester, you're supposed to reach the 3.3 plateau. It will be the same way if you are at the end of your second year, 3.4 and 3.5. You can only go on probation once. So let's say after your first year, you went on probation and you get it back up, and your junior year, you drop again. At that time, you will be dismissed for the program. However, we'll try to monitor your progress, and my doors will always be open. Your mentors, hopefully other students, other peers will be there to help you, but we're going to do the best we can to help you maintain your GPA. Again, history has shown us that for the last 5 years, the students in the honors programs have had no issue at all keeping the GPA, but you must graduate with a 3.5 GPA with your capstone completed. Let's see. Are there any questions from you guys? No questions? Okay. Let's see. Do you have any advice for the honors director as a first-year student? Actually, it's a question for you. The student wanted me to know this, so I'm going to throw that again. If you have any advice for me as honor director, you could type it there. If you want to, you always email me. Let's see. All right, so I just want to make clear exactly what you need to do to complete successfully complete the honors program. You're going to hear a lot of the model 6+2+C. Like it's probably going to be ingrained in your head probably by the first few months here in Bentley. 6 meaning 6 courses that fulfill the gen ed or electives. Must have a designation of H. 2 courses that fulfill your major. Depends on what your major is, these classes will be available to you in a regular class. If you happen to be in a major that, for example, management and marketing are one of the most popular ones that have to do this. And see, yeah, and then computer science as well. What you have to do is you take a class, let's say, for example, you're a management major and the management department does not offer a management class exclusive for honor students. You can take a management 350 and you talk to the professor and you sign a contract with the professor and you complete that class as an honors class. The professor will have certain requirements that you want you to do, and then you will submit to me the paperwork. I'll look at it. If I believe that what you're doing deems of honors worthy, I will email the registrar, and in your transcript will say management 350 and an H. Okay, so that's how you complete the 2 courses. If you happen to be in majors that do not have classes exclusive for honor students, for example, accounting 311 and 312 will always be an H required for you. Those are the classes that you will have to take. Same thing with finance and eco-fi. So those are the majors that usually have always offer classes in the major. But you know, the students that are majors that are not as popular as accounting and finance tend to do the honors contract. So that's it too. And then you have the C, which is the capstone, which is the capstone experience. Again, for you guys, it's been split. You have to do the proposal, the first part, and the second part, you're gonna have to do your actual project. Okay, let's see. Hold on, let me see if I have any other questions here. Is there anyone in the honors program that I can go if I have problems or need assistance or advice? Okay. Currently in the honors team is myself, Professor Rob DeLeo, and Tyler Sherman, who is your residence director for the honors defined community. Right now, we are in the process of, we used to have an academic coordinator, but unfortunately, she took a different job. She's no longer here at Bentley. So we're going to be looking for an honors program manager who will also be your point of contact for us. He or she, whoever that person is, can be, they can be your point of contact if you have any trouble. They could refer to you to other people. But you could also go to academic services. The Office of Academic Services located in Jennison Hall. They will always be there for you as well. But if you happen to have something related to honors, my suggestion is go to me, go to Professor DeLeo, or go to our program manager. And then between the 3 of us, we'll find a way to help you, even if it is redirecting you to academic services, redirecting you to someone, for example, if you have a question about study abroad or you have a problem with the study abroad, we'll send you that way. Or anything that is not related to academics too. We are going to find a way. For example, a student emailed me a couple of, it was about a month ago, who's a student athlete. I believe she's in the volleyball team. She had a question about that. So automatically we sent her to the right person in the athletic department. So any question that you have between Professor DeLeo, myself, and the upcoming, whoever the person may be, the honors program manager, the three of us will give you the best answer we can. There are other offices here on campus that can help you. In Jenison, where the academic services are, it's also the Office of Disability. If you have questions about that, we have the health center as well. If you have any issues with that, so Bentley has overall, Bentley has a lot of offices that are going to be there to help you. And if it comes to academic, obviously, we have other services as well. We have the ESL Center, we have the Writing Center, the Math Tutoring. If you take languages, we have the Click Lab located also in Adenia. So there are ways that we're going to help you. If you don't have the questions, you could always come to us, and then we'll make sure that we send you to the right person. Will the responsibilities of the honors program prevent me from being able to get involved in other activities on campus, like sports clubs and organizations? The answer is no. You can join any club you want. If you want to be the president of any club or any organization, you are more than welcome to do that. The only thing that we, meaning the honors program leadership team, wants is commitment if you decide to run for office for the honors council. For example, you're going to hear as soon as you arrive to Bentley, and I'm sure you're already seeing your schedule, we have 2 activity periods in Bentley. We have Tuesdays and Wednesdays. You have the activity period, meaning there are no classes held. So a lot of student organizations, including faculty and departments, have meetings. That's the most popular time to meet and host all these meetings for you. So what's going to happen is that the honors program, the Student Honors Council, has a set day to meet, which I believe are Tuesdays. At that time, if you're running for office, we expect you to be there doing those meetings. We don't meet every week. We meet once a month. That was the only time that I would say if you decide to run for an office for the Honors Student Council, we'll expect you to commit to those meetings, especially if you decide to go for president, because the president of the Student Honors Council not only has to attend the Student Honors Council, but they also have to attend the Faculty Honors Council. We also have a body that consists of 8 professors who we make determinations about their program, and there are voices from the students that are represented there. So those are the things that, if you decide to run for offices in the honors program, but being part of the honors program at all in general is not going to hinder your chances of joining or not letting you join any other clubs or any other organization. We have student athletes. In fact, our current president of the Student Honors Council, she is in the volleyball team. So obviously we allowed to do that. If she ever has to go away for a game and she can't make it to the meeting, then we have the vice president. Basically being an honor student is not going to prevent you from joining other other student organizations. Does the honors program prevent me from being able to take an extra degree designation like an LSM or a minor? The answer to that is no. The 6 + 2 + C, again, it's those 8 courses there that you had 9, will check a box for your curriculum. So no, it's not going to prevent you from doing that. In fact, you could probably take, let's say, for example, you decide to do a global studies LSM, one of the most popular LSMs that we have here. And global studies department usually offers courses. I believe Professor Gulati taught one last year, and the students took it as honors and counted for the LSM. So that's not really any problem at all, including, if you decide to do minor in whatever discipline you want to minor in. If I don't live in the honors floor first year, does that mean that I cannot live in honors housing later on in my 4 years of Bentley? No. Just because you didn't get in this time, you could always apply next time. Hopefully, we're going to get more applicants for next time. And hopefully, we'll get a bigger dorms next time. But no, that just because you live in your first year honors community, that doesn't mean that you automatically get into the second year, or vice versa. Just because you weren't there, doesn't mean you're totally ruled out of the upper class honors defined community. What is service learning? And is it an honors requirement? Again, I told you that it is required for you. There are two ways to complete your honors, your defined, your service learning experience. It's either called a fourth credit or an embedded experience. So what does that mean? Well, if it is an embedded course, meaning in the syllabus, the class, the professor specifically tells you that you have to do, as a group, would do some kind of service learning that is embedded in the course. That's what it means. It's part of your course, and it has a designation of service learning embedded course. You do that in your sophomore year, you complete your requirement. If you don't decide to do that, because there are not that many courses that have that, it's also the fourth credit service learning. So what does that mean? That means that, for example, and students have taken this in my classes, my Spanish classes. I'm going to give you my own example. I taught Spanish for business last semester, and we had a student that went to Professor Alison Guzman runs a service learning in the Waltham public schools, and they go there and they help parents talk to them. They help them in various services that our students want to do. So they get together with these parents and they help each other. It's sort of to get them acclimated also because they are newly arrived to the United States. So the students go after class at a certain time. They go there and they do the service learning. And for me, they would write a paper, some reflection journals that you have to do. And that is a fourth credit, and you will receive a grade. The 3 credits from the class, from the 4th credits for the service learning, 4th credit for your service learning, I totally separate. Meaning you could get an A on your class and you could fail the service learning. And it's the opposite. You could get a C in the class and you could get an A in the 4th credit. So they're 2 totally different things. You will work with a student who happens to be the program manager. And so those are basically some of the things that you could do in the honors program. Excuse me, that's your service learning in the honors program. I believe I have run out of questions, so I am not sure if you guys have any questions, anything for me. I have gone over pretty much all the questions that students told me that you may have. So I don't know what you guys want to do.
There's only one person. So if there's not any questions, we're probably going to end the chat early. So Robin, if you have any questions, please type it in the chat box.
All right.